Are you a dumb fuck?
So are we.
We're going to show you how everything works in this venue.
Come with us.
Alright, so we're going to turn this bad boy on. On the back there's a little power switch. So you always turn on the desk before the speakers, otherwise everything goes boom. So here we've got the Snake connected to the desk. So we're going to turn it around, we're going to hit the power on button. And what we're going to do to make sure that it's configured, if it doesn't have a green button, you're going to hold configure, and you're going to use this wheel to scroll to 1.8, 1 to 8, and that should configure it to the desk.
Alright, so the first thing you need to do is make sure that all the power boards are turned on at the wall and connected. So if you follow your line to your power board, this is your power board, then these will power up your speakers. Now, before you turn on the powers for the speakers, you're going to make sure that the power for the mixer is turned on. And then if you come to the back of the speakers, you'll see, for this one example, your front of house, your left and right has power here. Let's switch that on, give it a few seconds. Alright, so for your monitor speakers, flip it up here, you can see the power is down here. Switch them on and give it a few seconds and the lights will turn on. You can have it on live, and the volume is about halfway. So for your spotlight, if you come to the same wall, I marked it on the wall there saying spotlight. Give it a switch.
Alright, so this is our XLR cable for the big dogs. We're going to plug this into the back of the microphone like so. Boom. Right? And we're going to run this to our Snake. Right? Uncoil this bad boy. And for this one, because it goes into channel 1, we're going to plug it into the first channel on this one. If it will. Hell yeah. So now that you've got the microphone plugged into slot 1 on the Snake, we're going to come to the desk. We're going to hit select on our channel, channel 1 for vocals, right? And it's automatically going to be routed to the wrong thing. So we're going to hit home and we're going to go to configure. And then we're going to select our source. So go all the way down to channel 17 for our first channel. So now, channel 1 on the Snake is now channel 1 on our desk. Alright, now we're gonna do input gain. So for each channel it needs a different gain setting depending on each band. So we've got our microphone plugged into 1 on the Snake, which is now configured to 1 on the desk. And as you can see, it's barely coming in on the desk, right? You can barely see it coming in. You want it to be hitting about -20. So just under the yellow line up here. Just under the yellow line. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna make sure that our channel is selected. Then we're gonna go to gain. We're gonna gain it up, gain it up, gain it up, gain it up, gain it up. Turn this knob, turn the knob, turn the knob, until it's hitting a decent level. So now if you look on the input selection, look at that. As opposed to nothing. Whoa, la 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 la, fucking, yep. And if we unmute this, it's gonna be coming through the monitors. Hell yeah. That's what we're all about. Bit shaky there, brother. Alright, now we're going to talk about sends on fader. So we're going to select the channel that we want to affect. So we're going to select this one, our vocal channel, which is coming through here. We're going to unmute it. We're going to make sure that this one is down because this is for front of house. We don't want to affect that just yet, right? So with this one selected, we're going to go over to bus 1 to 8, which is our monitors, as they're labeled here. We're going to unmute these, and we're going to push them up to a decent level. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to press sends on fader. Now this is really important. This is how much of this channel is sending to each of our monitors. So if the vocalist just wants vocals in the second monitor, we're going to send it through to the second monitor. And if the second vocalist or the guitarist wants only in monitor 1, we're going to send it to just to monitor 1. It may be a little bit to the others, depending what the rest of the band wants. And we're going to go through each channel and essentially make its own mix, right? Depending on what the band wants. And always remember to press sends on fader when you're finished, because otherwise you're going to be messing up your mix, right? So remember to press that. Now we're back to the master channels of our monitors. And as you can see here, it's still coming through. So the sends on fader function is just referring to how much of the microphone or each channel is sending to the monitors on stage. So if a musician on stage wants just a little bit of vocals in his foldback or a little bit of guitar, and then the other artist wants a completely different mix in their monitor, this is where we use sends on fader. So we can choose how much of each channel is sending to which monitor. So for a lead vocalist that stands in the middle of the stage, will probably want something like this. They want to hear lots of themselves, but their band members probably won't want to hear too much of them. So we'll have something like this. Alright, so the next thing we want to do is set up a TalkBack mic, so you can talk to the bands on stage as you're setting up, and so that if they tell you, oh, I want a bit more in my monitors, or I want this, I want that, you can talk to them directly. Now the important thing is to only send it to monitors and not to the front of house. So I'm going to plug this into channel 8, which I've got it routed to, which is, I'm going to plug it into 8 on my Snake. Right, now nothing's coming through, and that's because we need to select our channel and select channel 8A08, channel 24, because remembering that it's on the Snake. So we select that, and now we can see a bit of level coming through, right? Now, you make sure that this fader here is down, because you don't want the front of house to hear you as you're talking to the bands. So that's down, we're going to unmute this, check, 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 and we're going to send it to our monitors on stage. So, hey, 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 what? Ch. Oh, it is coming through. It is coming through, just a bit of low gain. Alright, now that we've done our monitor sends and the artist is happy on stage, we're going to now send it through the rest of the speakers. We're going to send it through our front of house. So, what we're going to do is we're going to make sure that on our desk the channel is up and that the master channel is up. And that's it. That's all you need to do. That's everything. That's all. That's everything. That's all of it. That's the bells and whistles. That's. Now that your nose is broken, first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your master channel, your master level is at 0, and then with each of your individual channels, you're going to bring them up to a level that's suitable for the venue. Alright, now we've got our sends to the front of house and to the monitors. Now we're going to do some compression and EQ. So for compression, we're going to go to our home page and see over here it says DYN for dynamics. We're going to flick over to this page, and this button here where it says threshold, we're going to bring this back. We're going to pipe it back until you can see some gain reducing. So what that's going to do is whenever the volume goes above a certain level, it's going to bring the volume down so that you don't have ear-splitting vocals or ear-splitting guitars. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the equalizer. So that's just the next page on, to EQ. And the most important thing is to have your low cut, because you're going to want to have this about 80 Hz to 100 Hz, depending on what channel you have. The only exception is your bass guitar and your kick drum, right? And you're going to go through and you're going to choose which bands you want to affect. So for this vocal, I'm going to choose to cut my low frequency at about 200 Hz, just like that. So there's 3 knobs. There's your Q, which is the wideness of the band, as you can see. There's the frequency that it's affecting. And then there's the gain, which is how much is being boosted or how much is being cut. Alright, so here we've got our keyboard. We're going to show you how to put the keyboard through a DI going into the system. So you're going to need 3 things. You're going to need your DI box, you're going to need an instrument cable, and you're going to need an XLR cable. So with the DI box, you're going to make sure that there's a battery inside, and you're going to turn it on. And you're going to see the little flashing red light to make sure that it's on. Right? Next, what we're going to do is we're going to go out of the keyboard, just like that. We're going to go into the DI box, just like that. So this DI's got 2 inputs, 1 and 2, separate ones. So we're going to out of the keyboard into the DI box. Then we're going to take a cable out of the DI box into the desk. Yep, so now we're going out of the keyboard into the DI box. we're going to plug this XLR into the same channel. And now that's being connected to the desk, and we should have our keyboard running through. Now it's really important that you have phantom power running to the DI box to give it power. And when you're plugging out of the keyboard, you can almost always just go, even if it's a stereo keyboard like it is here, you can just go out of the left channel as a mono send into this thing. Alright, now that your keyboard's plugged in, we're going to plug this into our Snake. So this is going to go, in this case, into channel 5 on the Snake. Plug that in. We're going to go over to our desk. We're going to give it phantom power, and we're going to configure it so that the input is from the Snake, not from the desk. So now that our DI is running into the Snake on channel 5, we're going to go over to configure on our home channel. We're going to choose the source as channel 21, A05. A05 is channel 5 on the Snake. I'm going to press select. And then, to give it phantom power, we're going to go back to the home page here. We're going to press down on this keypad to go to our second layer here. And see here it says plus 48V. That's 48 volts for phantom power. We're going to go, yes, we want phantom power. We're going to boost the signal with phantom power. So plugging a guitar, a bass guitar, or an acoustic guitar into the system is the same as plugging it into a DI as the keyboard. So for an acoustic guitar or bass guitar, we're going to plug it into the guitar, like so, and that's running to our DI box, which is running into our system. Alright, so here we've got our SM57. This microphone is used for miking up a guitar amp, and it's used for the snare drum as well. So for miking up a guitar amp, if the guitar is plugged into our amplifier, we're just going to put the mic on a stand like this one, and we're going to put it in front of the speaker about a centimeter away from the speaker itself. Just like that. And then that's running through XLR. You just plug an XLR into here, which runs into our Snake. Alright, so here we've got our snare drum and our kick drum. We're going to use the SM57 on the snare drum. So there's two ways you can do this. You can put it onto the clamp, like so. We're going to feed it through the clamp, like this. Alright, so now we've got our clip-on mic. And what we're going to do on our snare is we're just going to clip it onto the side of the snare like so. Yep. So now we've got that clipped on. We're going to make sure that this is pointing towards the center of the snare with a little bit of gap. You don't want it to be too close to the snare. The other way we could do it is we could use a mic stand. Coming in from the side, and essentially the same thing. You just want it to be, you know, just above the snare, pointing towards the center of the snare, and making sure that the drummer can't hit it as well. Just like that. Alright, so here we got our kick drum. We're going to use a D6 on this kick because it's got a low frequency response. There's two ways you can go about this one. You can either put the microphone straight into the hole, or you can put it on a stand, like this one, in front of the kick drum. So, first option is to just jam it in there, let it sit on the bottom of the kick drum floor. The second option is you put it on a clip, like so, screw it on, we got some tunes, love it. And we're going to put this in front of the kick drum. Just like that. And then we got kick. You just run it through the Snake and then you're good to go. Alright, sending reverb and delay to your front of house is as simple as selecting the channel you want to affect. You go to your bus 9 to 16, where you can see your returns for your effects, so your reverb, your delay, your compressor. you press your sends on fader and you select how much you want in your front of house, right? Now we should be getting reverb. Now to change the effect that's active, we're gonna just go to this effects homepage and we're gonna use this knob to change which effects we want on this channel. So there's reverbs, there's delays, as you can see, chorus, flanger, phaser, whatever you might need. And you just change it like so. Then once you have your parameter selected, your effect selected, we're going to go to the next page to actually change what's active. We can change its parameters. How big we want the reverb, the level of the reverb, all of those things. Alright, now if you want to organize your session a little bit better, to name your channels and to give them little icons to know what they are, we're going to go over to setup and we're going to go all the way over to name an icon. And here we select what channel, we select its color, its icon, and we can name it as well. So for example, channel 8, we're going to go to channel 8, we're going to make it purple, why not? And we're going to make it a little, this thing, whatever the fuck that is. And I've already named this TalkBack, TB. So all you need to do is go in here and use the controls to change the name of it. Alright, we're going to play some music through the system. So between bands, you kind of want to play a bit of background tunes. So the first thing you want to do, you're going to whip up an absolute tune of a song, such as the Browntown song. Right? You're going to, on this Logitech thing that we've got here, you're going to press and hold until it flashes. Then you go into your Bluetooth, turn your Bluetooth on. Logitech BT adapter, we're going to connect to that one. Right? Excellent, now that's connected. I'm going to start playing, but there's no music coming through. So what we got to do now is on the desk, we go to aux 1 to 6. And as you can see, we've got some level coming through here, right? Now if I were to unmute this, it's going to be coming through my front of house. Alright, now if we want to send this to the restaurant, we just select this channel, we then sends on fader, and we send it to the restaurant here. And the same goes if we want to send it to our monitors. Alright, now to send your band and the music to the rest of the restaurant, what we're going to do is we're going to select our channel, and essentially the same as sending it to our monitors, we're just going to send it to the restaurant, which is our bus 4. Now, we're going to hit sends on fader, and we're going to send that to the restaurant, and make sure it's unmuted. And that is now running to the wall.
Alright, hi, I'm Shah, the Supreme Commander of Technology. Now, from the mixer at the front of the house, we come to the wall. And from the wall, we actually come into this mixer here in the rack behind the big screen. And for this, we want to make sure that, as you can see labeled here, it says band mixer. So we want to make sure that the volume is up here to be able to get any input into the mixer. And we want to have it about 10 on the level chart there. And we also want to make sure that all these are at 12 o'clock and your gain is completely down, so we don't get the sound. And if you come across, you can see this is the master volume. It goes, you can see here, bring this up, don't go past, you can stay between the 10 and 0 range to get a good optimal sound. So now we've got a band playing on the main stage, and what we want to do is send the sound from that mixer into the office and send it out to the zone in the restaurant. So how we do that is if we come here, as you can see here in the channels, you can see mic 1 PC, number channel 3 is Foxtel. So mic 1 PC is that mixer at the front of the house, and what we want to do is we want to send that input into the zones in the restaurant, as you can see on the writing here. You can see big screen, restaurant, outdoor, and Dragon Den. So if we press on this button here, the big wheel, you can see that volume is on solid green. If you press that again, you get a blinking light on there, so that indicates that you can change the volume from there. You can turn this to turn up and turn down the volume. Now if you press it again, the light goes solid green. We rotate that anti-clockwise to change it to input, and if you press it again, we can now change it to what input we want. So we wanted to have it on level 1. And then to monitor it, you can press PFL and you will be able to hear it on the speaker. Now we do that for all the zones, and we send all that input to all the zones if you wanted to have it throughout the whole restaurant. This is the big screen zone. This is also a big screen zone. This is the restaurant zone. This is also the restaurant zone. This is also the restaurant zone. This is Dragon's Den zone. This is outside zone. This is also outside zone. Alright, so now that we've gone through audio, we're going to go through the visual sides and how you set that up. So as you can see over here, we start here. This is your monitor TV switch. So if I was to change this here, we can now see what's on the big screen on the TV above us. This top one here is your monitor TV. This helps you monitor what's playing on the screens. For now we have the big screen and we have Dragon's Den TVs. So if you were to switch the channels here into input 3 for example, it's going to show you on the TV above you on what's playing in Dragon's Den. Okay. Now as you can see here on this bottom one here, this is a matrix switch. We have out A as your big screen TV and out B as the TVs in Dragon's Den. As you can see, it's been labeled here also. So A is big screen, B is Dragon's Den TV. So if you were to press this button here, it switches the input channels 1, 2, 3, 4. And as you can see, it's replicated here. Audiolize is 1, Foxtel is 2, 3 is DVD, and free-to-air TV. It can switch interchangeable. And 4 is external TV, but at the moment we won't need that. So how you change the channel is, for the big screen, you would go here, press on this button and choose which input you want. And for Dragon's Den TVs, you switch the channels here, and you can also choose what input you like there. All the rest here is not relevant, you don't need to press anything. Alright, so to play Foxtel, you have 3 boxes here as you can see. We've got Fox 1, Fox 2, and Fox 3. So what's connected to that top one there is Fox 2. We just want to make sure that the blue lights are on, and how we change the channels is if we press TV guide, you can choose the channels from there. But you got to make sure that up here that you switch it to a channel that you can monitor what channel you're switching to. So to play free-to-air TVs to the screens, we use this box here, the Panasonic. If there's on the top right hand corner, you see there's a power button. When you press that, it will come up with hello. And how we know it's working is we wanted to switch to, say, after it's load up, D74, or say D in what channel. And how we change the channel is using the remote control. Over here, the Panasonic remote control. So we can change the channels from moving up and down and through the menus here. So, how we get those channels that we were mentioning before onto these TVs is we want to come up here. I know this is a bit dodgy, but it has to be done. Now, if you put your hand just here on the right hand bottom corner, you can feel there's actually buttons in the back here. If you were to press it in, you can actually come to the menu screen here. And if you want to go to this by moving the toggle left and right, we can go to menu like that, and we want to scroll down to broadcasting, as you can see there. Push it to the, so once you're in broadcasting, you give it a press, it will come up like this. You want to scroll down to channel list, press the button, and from there we can see that we can have 2 different Foxtel channels. One is named Commentary Info, as you can see up there, and the other one is called Fox Sports 1 HD. So we want to have it on either of those 2 channels, but you want to have both screens on different channels so you can play different shows. So if we were to press OK on that, we'll play what we have set up in the room.
Alright, we're going to go into Shah's office.
Hi. So, how we turn the video wall on is simple. As you can see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. These are your powers for your screen. So what we want to do to set it up is turn all these powers on. 1. Do one at a time so we don't blow fuses. 3, 4. And we also want to make sure, come with me, we just want to make sure that this is on as well. This is the power button, and press that. And we also want to make sure that the mode, if you press mode, will bring you to this menu. And as you can see on this label here, it says channel 4 is media. So that's basically playing what's in the office. So if we switch that down to channel 4, press OK. Now it's going to be playing whatever you send from the office. And the next thing you want to do is check the front if the TV turns on and if there's any issues.
Great success.
Right, at times you might want to play something like for quiz night or Bullseye Bingo, and we want to have some visuals on the screen. We can actually access that from here. Over here we have a little stick computer which is stuck into the wall into a HDMI port. So what we're going to do is play your media here by plugging in a USB, either supplied by your host, or if you have your own, plug it in here, use it like a normal computer, and then go into the back of the screen and you can change settings. I'm going to make sure that the light is blue. If it's not, just press the button on the side here. On the left hand side you can see a little button there. You can give that a press and it should turn on. We have a mouse connected to it on the side via USB, as so, and this is the power to that computer which is stuck onto the wall. Just make sure these all three things are sticking to it so that we can get visuals onto the screen. So, once you've turned on the computer from the front, we have a little monitor screen here to make sure to see if it's working or not. But it's also used as an audio extractor. So we have here, it's plugged into our audio system. Now what we want to do from here is, as you can see on this little black box, if we switch it to channel 1 as so, after pressing mode, so when mode light is blue, we can switch that channel here to 1, and we want to press that button in to set that channel. Now the video wall will duplicate whatever's showing on this screen. Yeah.